Hello, my friends. I'm Mrs. Surrett. I'm a U.S. history teacher, and I'm going to talk to you for a moment about the 2.08 constructed response and what you need to do. So I'm here on the content page. I went down to Unit 2, and then I scrolled down to 2.08, and it brought me to this page right here. And if I scroll down, you'll see after the section and the flipped recording and everything you need to look at, here is the actual 2.08 constructed response. For those of you who are new, this is the Dropbox. That's where you'll actually upload it. But right here, this is what I want to click on to actually get the assignment document to understand what to do for my essay. So when I click there, my essay comes up and you'll see that it talks about I want to answer 4 questions in my document. Of course, it won't let me highlight them. So I'm going to go over those questions in a moment, but I want to show you that everything you need is on this document. It just may be that you have to scroll down to it. There's 3 pieces of printed propaganda that we want you to look at, and you need to use those 3. You don't have to go looking through the internet to find more. But also, if I keep scrolling down, you'll notice that there's 2 songs. So I am looking at 3 posters or printed pieces of propaganda and 2 songs in this constructed response. So you don't have to go looking for anything. It's all right there. And I'd like to consider, if you'll excuse me a moment, these 4 questions. So I'm going to flip over to a PowerPoint that I have. And I want us to think about propaganda. What is it? And I want us to consider those questions. And I've got some pieces of propaganda here for you right now. And when you're looking at propaganda, propaganda doesn't use a lot of words. It instead relies on pictures or symbols or things that are kind of a part of a shared culture to get us to feel or think a certain way. For example, here, I'll start with this piece of propaganda. This is not government propaganda, but you've got this baby. And notice that the baby is covered in tattoos of things we use all the time. Windows, Sports Illustrated, McDonald's, NBC. These are part of our shared consumer culture. We would recognize these arches are McDonald's. We would recognize Windows. Most of us may be using it right now. You might recognize the Nike swoosh. These are kind of common to our culture. So this symbol, these are all tattooed on this baby. And the baby is also a symbol. And the question is, what does a baby represent? When you think about symbols, it's going to have a particular emotion, or it's going to kind of evoke something inside you. So when I see a baby, I think about the baby being innocent. The baby doesn't really know what's going on around it. Babies need to be protected. They're cute. They're kind of cuddly and snuggly. We love them. You know, as a mom, I want to protect the baby. So the question when we think about propaganda, we want to think about what symbols are used, what pictures or what ideas to represent pictures, but what are we supposed to feel based on that information? So I brought that up because that's really important as you're writing your constructed response. So there's 4 questions that we expect you to be able to answer based on the propaganda we gave you and that we expect to find answered in your constructed response. So the first question, what type of symbols are used to evoke emotion? Why were those chosen? So it's important that you look at the pictures and listen to the songs and think about what are some of the things that they're telling us, what are some of the symbols that they're kind of giving us to make us think or feel a certain way. The second one, who is the intended audience of each of these types of propaganda? Is it children? Is it women? Is it men? Who are supposed to be thinking about this? I'll give you an example. This picture right here, who's the audience? Is it meant for me? Is it meant for teenagers? Is it meant for children? Who is it speaking to? So when you're looking at your propaganda, you need to be thinking about that. Number 3, what does the government hope the audience will do as a result of viewing the poster or the song, listening to the song, I should have said. Both of them are important excuse me, both of them you need to consider because the songs were commissioned by the government. And then the last thing, in your opinion, what type of propaganda is more effective, printed or song, and why? That's up to you. You get to choose what you think, and there's no right or wrong answer as long as you can give us one, at least two reasons, I would say, for why you made the choice. So if you think the printed propaganda, if you think these posters, let me flip back to that. If you think these posters are more effective here, that's fine. Why? What makes them better than these songs? Or if the songs are better, what makes them better? It could be as simple as, I think songs are catchy, they stick with me, or I think the pictures make me feel more emotions than the songs do. So again, it's not that there's a right or wrong, it's that you have to say why. So I do want to talk for a moment about symbols because that seems to be a tricky subject for my students. So let's take a look at these two posters. This poster right here, what kind of symbols do you see? Well, I've got a man sitting with a child and another child, a girl and a boy. So to me, the first symbol I would notice is a family. And families are things that's a place where we're supposed to be loved and protected and cared for, and it's something we should fight for. So all of these emotions would come to me as I see this symbol. How about this little girl sitting on the man's lap? Probably his daughter. Again, a daughter could be a symbol of something we protect, we cherish, something we want to nurture. Down here, the little boy has some toys. It's hard to tell, but those are actually soldiers and a little cannon. He's playing war. Why would he do that? Soldiers would be something he wants to look up to, that he wants to emulate. So that those toys could be a symbol. So you want to be thinking about what kind of symbols you see. Let's look over here. The women of Britain say go. What kind of symbols do we see? We see soldiers. And what are these soldiers doing? They're not fighting. They're marching away. We see these women and a child. Is this a family? Is this a wife and a child being left behind? And why would a soldier leave a wife and child behind? Probably to defend them. So again, that would make that soldier think about, oh, I need to defend these important things in my life. Here's a song that we could look at. Johnny, Get Your Gun. It's called Over There, excuse me. I'm not going to sing for you. If you want the concert, you have to come to live class. But Johnny, for example, Johnny is just a regular guy, like we use the word dude or guy or man. Johnny is another term for that. So that would just be that regular person, the guy you see on the street. How about this symbol? Son of Liberty. Oh, Sons of Liberty. See, you study U.S. history, it all comes back around. Think about the Revolutionary War, the men who fought for their beliefs, the men who in Valley Forge had no shoes and yet they fought on anyway. So it gets you kind of feeling patriotic. A sweetheart. Of course, a sweetheart is a guy or a girl that you love, that you live for, that you would do anything to protect or defend. So these are all symbols, and their emotions, I kind of jumbled that together, but that's because symbols do generally evoke certain emotions. So as I mentioned before, you want to be thinking about your intended audience. For example, here, rally around the flag. First of all, there's a symbol, the flag right there. That's the country. You see this man in front of the flag with his gun. Is he a soldier? Is this poster talking to men who've already become soldiers or men who have not yet become soldiers? Is it talking to women, encouraging the women? Look how dashing he looks. Look how handsome. Don't you want your men to look like this? Who is it talking to? And what does the government hope the audience will do? This is more of that song that I did a moment ago over there. Does the government want the audience to support the war? Do they want them to attack the war or become dissenters? What is this poster trying to get people to do? And then last, again, your opinion. Is it better to have printed propaganda, those posters, or is it better to have songs? And it doesn't matter, again, as long as you give some answers. Now, some reasons, excuse me. Now, again, I get sometimes, how long should this be? And that's a hard question to answer because the honest truth is it should be long enough to answer each question completely. Some people are very direct and succinct. They might be able to do it in one paragraph. Other people might need 2 paragraphs. I had one student say, could I do a paragraph for each question? Sure. Whatever it takes to get this answered is up to you. Now the last thing I'll show you, it says essay rubric. I'm sorry, I will change that right now because it should say constructed response rubric. I know, now I have to actually go back and shrink it and all this kind of great stuff. Isn't that awesome? What we will do is we literally took those 4 questions. Do you talk about the symbols and what emotions they bring up? Did you think about who the audience is? Did you discuss the government's effect? Did you say which one you think is better and why? Write down. And you can see here in column 4, if you were to get a 4 on everything, that would be 100. This is what you need to do. So for example, do you have 3 to 4 symbols used and what they are supposed to evoke? So, you know, you might have a symbol from this poster here, the flag, a symbol from this poster, the family, a symbol from this song, the sweetheart. So you don't need 3 or 4 for each piece of propaganda. You need 3 or 4 in general, just looking at all the different pieces. And of course you could always have more. You know, and then you want to talk about your target audience. You want to talk about what does the government want you to do, and then you want to give a couple reasons why you think that one is more effective than the other. And you have to choose. You can't say, well, a poster might be good for some people, but a song is good for others. You have to choose which one you think is better. And then lastly, this is a constructed response. We need to see some attempt at grammar. We need to know that you didn't just write this in 15 seconds and walk away. You actually put some thought into it and did your best to write at the best level that you can. All right, my friends, I hope that this helps you to understand what you need to do. And if you have any questions, please let your teachers know. Good luck.